Welcome to video 5 of the Hawk Site Getting Started series. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create your first digital security risk assessment, an SRA, using the data you entered into your risk library. If you didn't review your risk library before starting your SRA, you must go back to video 2 and ensure it is up to date. By updating the risk library, you have answered the 3 questions essential for any risk assessment, namely, what do you need to protect? This is your asset library. What are you protecting them from? This is your threat library. And how vulnerable are they to these threats? This is your control library. In reviewing and updating your risk libraries, you must ensure that all threats have been updated that are relevant to the location of this new SRA. All threats must have a location assigned, or they cannot be assigned to an SRA. And all controls in your library must be assigned correctly to the threats they mitigate and the project type. You can start a new security risk assessment only once you have updated your risk libraries. So, let's set up a new security risk assessment project. Click Projects. Then click on the blue Add New Project button, or you can right-click on the map where you wish the SRA project to be located, then click Add New Project. Now we need to complete the new project page. All starred fields must be completed, the rest are optional. I'm going to enter Company C as my new project name. Next, we need to select the project type from the drop-down. I'm going to select Corporate Office SRA. You can select more than one project type if needed. Now I'm going to select the project currency. You will see how this is used when considering financial exposure later in the video. To save time, you can use a previous security risk assessment as a template. You can select from a list of previous SRAs as seen here. When using a template, you can select all of the content of a previous report or one or more of the context, critical assessment, and target attractiveness sections. Threats are automatically assigned to your new SRA from your threat library based on the location you enter for this new SRA project. Now we can add a description, and I'm going to add Corporate Headquarters of Company C. Next, we need to add the company details. My company name is Company C. Now I'm going to add an address, Potters Field Park. This address is not associated with any real corporate office. The website, contact name, email, and number can be completed if required, but are optional. Next, we need to select a project location type. You have the option of a point, a line, an area, or multiple points, and I'm going to select a single point. To refine the location on the map, we can enter an address into the search field. The address field will automatically populate with the same. If you wish to receive notifications of incidents close to your new SRA location, type the radius to which you want to be alerted and tick Allow Notifications Alert. I'm going to set it at 5 kilometers. To add a logo for your report, select a file from your computer, and once all this is completed, click Save at the top of the page. It may take a couple of minutes as information from your risk libraries is being automatically assigned. Assets are assigned based on the project type you entered. Threats are assigned based on the location of the SRA. And controls are assigned based on the threats assigned and the project type. This is why having your risk libraries up to date is so important. Once your project has been added, click OK. You will be taken to the Project Risk Portal page. You can edit the SRA details you have just completed by clicking the pencil icon at the top of the page. When you create a new SRA, it is essential that you follow the workflow I am about to show you that follows the tabs in the risk portal from left to right. The first tab on the project portal page is Context. Under Context, you have several free text data fields. The first is the executive summary. If you have used a template, this will already be populated, but you can edit it. Next is the Location tab. This consists of location information, location map, the location gallery, an incident analysis tab, and an incident analysis gallery. Location information is a free text field that can be used to describe your location. To add a location map, click on the camera icon. A picture of your location is then stored in the Location Gallery tab. The Incident Analysis tab and Incident Analysis Gallery is where all your incident analysis data, maps and charts are stored. We go into this in more detail in a later video. Just search for location and incident mapping in the knowledge base search field. We then have a series of free text fields that can be populated if required. The first is Objectives. This field outlines what this SRA is trying to achieve and how. Next is Requirements. This field outlines what is to be covered in this SRA. Next is Expectations. This is where you can outline how the subject of the SRA is viewed from inside and outside of the organization. For example, it is useful when considering the potential of insider threats and strike action. The Previous Incidents field gives space to outline the previous security incidents the subject has been exposed to. The Security Overview field supports a narrative that supports the threats assigned. The Assumptions field gives space to outline circumstances that may need further explanation. And finally, the Exclusions tab gives space to outline any agreed exclusions in this SRA. Again, you don't have to complete these fields, but you will see guidance text in each to help you achieve these sections if they are relevant. Now we need to consider the risk framework that will be used for this SRA. The risk framework consists of 3 sections. The first helps you assess the consequence of a security event on the subject of your SRA. The consequence table shows default definitions along a series of consequence drivers. All of the definitions and financial values can be edited. The financial definitions are edited using the drop-downs. The definition fields can also be edited. I'm going to change the definition of physical injury, and then I click Save. I'm going to stick with the default definitions for the rest. Next is the risk matrix. You can choose a 5x5 or a standard matrix. And I'm going to use the standard matrix. You can restructure the color banding of your matrix to represent higher or lower risk tolerance levels, which is automatically saved when you leave the page. Finally, the risk level response table is where you can edit the standard definitions that define your organization's response at each level of risk. I'm going to change line managers to regional managers. Now click Save. You can add any relevant files to the Context tab if you require. Your Context section is now complete but can be edited at any time. Next is the Threat tab. Threats have been automatically assigned from your threat library based on the location of your project. Again, you must review all automatically assigned threats to see if they are still relevant to this SRA. If they are not, untick them. You will be prompted to confirm your selection. If you are sure you want to unassign this threat, press Confirm Delete. If you change your mind, just tick it again. If you wish to search for additional threats not automatically assigned to this SRA project, you can search for them using the search fields above. If you wish to add a new threat, click Add New Threat and complete the data fields. The new threat will be assigned to this SRA project and your threat library. Next is the Assets tab. We have 3 critical assets assigned automatically from the asset library based on our project type of corporate office. If you need to add any critical asset to your SRA, click Add New Asset and complete the data fields. You can edit or delete an asset using the pencil icon and delete button as required. If you delete this asset from your SRA, it will still be available in the asset library for future risk assessments. The assigned threats and consequences can be edited any time by clicking the relevant buttons. Next up, we need to assess our subject's profile, or target attractiveness, to the threats assigned to it. Click on the Target Attractiveness tab. There are 5 categories of target attractiveness we need to consider. Click on each in turn and then click Select Level. Click the definition most relevant to each asset. You can add notes in the free text field to justify your assessment, and upload files, or take an image from your device using the camera button. You are considering the target attractiveness of the subject, in this case, the corporate office. I'm going to choose Moderate Visibility, Low Iconic Status, Low Interdependence, Significant threat access due to lax controls on the building, and low collateral exposure. Now click Save and Continue. Pressing the Convert to Advanced button will allow you to adjust the target attractiveness for each asset. Once selected, you can't undo this selection and must assign target attractiveness to each asset. Now we are ready to carry out the risk analysis. Click the Risk Analysis tab, and HawkSight will begin to calculate the subject's risk profile and create a security risk register summarizing all the data we have entered. The user, date and time is logged each time the risk register is updated. Now click on the Controls Audit tab. Relevant controls have been automatically assigned to your security risk assessment from your control library, based on the threats assigned, and the project type you entered, when creating this new SRA. Once again, you must review all automatically assigned security controls to see if they are still relevant to this SRA. If they're not, tick the delete icon, and the system will show no risks associated. If you change your mind, click the undo icon, and the controls will be reassigned. If you need to add a new control, you need to add this in your control library. To complete your risk assessment, you must now audit all the control measures assigned to this security risk assessment. To do so, click on each control across all Protective and Reactive Security Controls tabs. Click on the rating box next to each control and select a rating. I'm going to select Satisfactory for the standard operating procedure for access control. Click on the Notes icon to add your observations to justify your rating. In this case, I'm going to type out of date standard operating procedure and then click Save. If you want to take a picture from your device, click the camera icon. To make a recommendation for improvement, click on the recommendation icon. I'm going to type in update standard operating procedure. You might want to add a little more. If you want to assign the recommendation to another user, click on the Notification tab and add a due date and a description of what is required. A list of users in your account will appear here. And finally, click on the File icon to add a file. Once you have completed this process for all your controls, you will have completed your security control audit. I have now audited all my controls and made some recommendations for improvement. The final tab is the Monitor and Review tab. You can see 2 versions of your Boston Matrix. On the left is the current risk profile. This shows all the risks in your risk register. On the right is the residual risk profile. This will show a changed risk profile when one or more simulated changes have been made. You can also see the current and residual financial exposure above each matrix. This number is calculated using the financial consequence figures you entered in the Context tab, multiplied by the number of risks at that equivalent level. Using this function, we can simulate several changes. We can simulate a change to the level of one or more threats, by clicking on the simulated value box, and making the change. I'm going to change malicious postal attack from low to high. We can also simulate changes to the critical asset level. I'm going to change the office building level from significant to moderate. Changes can be simulated for the target attractiveness level. I'm going to select the office building from the list, and then simulate a change in visibility, from moderate to low. Most notably, we can make changes to our control effectiveness level, which is very useful when justifying the effectiveness of your recommendations. You can simulate changes to one, or more, individual controls, or change all protective and reactive controls at the same time. This is useful to show what the change in risk profile would be, if all controls assigned to this SRA project were implemented to the highest level of effectiveness. I am going to stimulate changes to all controls to excellent, to see how this affects the residual risk profile in the simulator, by clicking the Protective Security Controls button and selecting excellent. Now I'm going to do the same for reactive controls. Click the Simulator button, to see how the residual risk profile, and financial exposure, have changed with all the changes listed under the recommendation column. You have now entered all the relevant data needed and completed your control audit. You are now ready to generate a PDF report. To generate a report, click the report icon on the top left of your screen. The reporting page will open, giving different report template options. Select the option you require. I am going to select the HawkSite PDF template. This will take you to the PDF Report Builder page. I'm going to add some basic details. The report title is Company C Office SRA. The report address is automatically completed. The department name is Security. And the assessment date is 24th of March. As you scroll down, you will see a list of data sections that can be included in your report. Just tick those you want to include. Then click Save and Generate, and your PDF report will be generated. I will cover more detail about how you can tailor your risk reports in a later video. This is the last of the Getting Started series of videos. There are other training videos covering a series of topics in more detail and further training in the knowledge base. Just click Help at the top of your screen. Then click on the Further Training Videos box or type a search term into the search field to see what resources cover the topic you are looking for.